So welcome back to the video OSPF part 2. So as we have seen, like dynamic routing protocol which uses link state algorithm, and then the protocol is open shortest path first, OSPF. So let's take an example same from the part 1. So let's see, like let's consider in OSPF area 1, like we have 4 routers connected to 4 different networks, and then their interfaces are being connected to 4 different networks. So the first command to enter in OSPF configuration is just to enter the global config mode and then enter router OSPF process ID. So the process ID is nothing but it is locally significant, like each router can have different process ID. So router with different process ID can become OSPF neighbor. So process ID and area are like two different things. So area and process ID are not related, process ID are not related to area. So keep this in mind. And then the next command is like network, and then enter the network which you want. So as we are on router R1 over here, and then we are entering the network over here of like this interface like 10.0.12.0, and then enter the wildcard mask subnet of that thing. So /30's subnet wildcard mask will be 0.0.3, and then the OSPF network command requires you to specify the area. So as you can see over here, after doing enter, you can see an incomplete command over here. That is because it's missing something. So that is, you need to specify in which area this network lies. So of course it lies into area 0 over here. So just type in network 10.0.12.0 0.0.3 area 0, so which is on this interface. Then enter the network 10.0.3.0 wildcard mask 0.0.0.3 and then area 0, and then network 172.16.1.0 which is on G20 interface, and then /28. So wildcard mask will be 0.0.0.15 area 0. So that's all you need to remember: router, OSPF process ID, network, and then you can also configure router ID on this. So let's go further, and then for CCNA you just need to configure into single area OSPF area 0. So like don't worry about area 1 and area 2 configurations. So the network command tells the OSPF to look for any interfaces with an IP address contained in the specific range in the range specified in the network command. So it will just look like if there is any IP address in this network over here. So we have .1 and .2. So activate OSPF on the interface in the specified area, and the router will try to become OSPF neighbor with other OSPF activated neighbor routers. So it will just become neighbor with R2 and R3 over here, R1. So what is passive interface command? So in RIP video we have covered about passive interfaces. That means that passive interface command tells the router to stop sending OSPF hello message out of the interface, say, so that like there is no need of telling this network that R2 and R3 are neighbors. So just configure that interface as passive interface G20 over here. However, the router will still send LSAs informing its neighbors about the subnet configured on its interface. So it will just send LSS to the neighboring routers but not to the passive interface. You should always use this command on interfaces which don't have any OSPF neighbor. So there is no OSPF neighbor over here, so just configure passive interface. So let's see, like what if we added a default route to the router over here. So first of all we'll have static route over here. So if you get any packet of any domain apart from this networks, so o.o.o.0 and so wildcard mask is o.o.o.o, and then just send it to the next hop which is 203.13.2 next hop, like on internet's interface over here. So and then if you see the routing table, you can see a static route being configured over here. Like if you get any packet from unknown network, you just forward it to 203.0.13.2. So how to configure this in OSPF configuration? So just put default information originate, and then if you see in the routing table show IP route, it will show that the OSPF like OE3 means like OSPF, and E2 that is OSPF external type 2. So that is like this is like to the external route. So if any packet comes, unknown packet comes from any of the unknown area, just send it to the default interface via like 10.12.1. so router 2 interface, and then send it through this next hop, and then it will send it to the internet. So that's how it works. So in part 4 we are going to see how to configure OSPF in Cisco packet tracer. So stay tuned for part 4. So this is part 2, and then in part 3 I'll just cover how OSPF works. Like there are 7 different steps. So stay tuned. Thank you.